Chair. So we know where it is.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is June 24th, 2024. The council briefing meeting will come to order. The time is 2:01 p.m. I'm Councilmember Maritza Rivera. Today I'm serving as Council President Pro Tem and Council President Sarah Nelson's excused absence. I want to also note before roll call that Councilmember Dan Strauss is excused from today's meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Saka.
Here.
Councilmember Wu.
Present.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Here.
Councilmember Kettle.
Here.
Councilmember Moore.
Present.
Councilmember Morales.
Here.
And Council President Pro Tem Rivera.
Present.
6 present.
Thank you. If there's no objection, the minutes of June 17, 2024 will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the minutes are adopted. All right. You know what? I don't have a president's report today. And there are no signing of letters and proclamations, so we will go to previewing city council actions, council and regional committees. Roll call today. Councilmember Saka, you start.
All right. Thank you, Madam Council President Pro Tem. Happy to kick us off here. Well, good afternoon, colleagues. Excited to be before you this afternoon and kind of report out. Thank you for the very collaborative, engaging conversation that we had last week at the Select Committee on Transportation, on the transportation levy. Really appreciate your thoughtful amendments and then the great discussion that ensued as well. So really appreciate that. I spent Juneteenth and the following days kind of mapping out. Well, here's the good news. I think there's a strong path forward based off of what we heard. And so spent the last few days and want to thank our central staff and my staff, especially Elaine Coe, but a lot of people working really hard to chart out the best path forward, and I'm convinced there is one. And so we're finalizing that right now, and with the goal of voting on the levy proposal that would go before voters a week from tomorrow. So at our very next Transportation Levy Select Committee, a week from tomorrow, the idea is to vote on an amended package that will ultimately be the basis of what goes before voters. So stay tuned. I've already had some individual conversations with a few of you, and I appreciate that. Let's continue to collaborate, and I have individual conversations one-on-one lined up with others. So I look forward to those, and I would kindly ask colleagues that you reserve as much as possible. This is crunch time. This is fourth and goal in the sports analogy context. This is, very, very critical period. I would kindly ask that as much as you can to allow flexibility and reserve your calendar this week to talk informally, with me for these one-on-ones that I have set up, or potentially even some of our colleagues offline individually. Just to allow and basically prioritize resolving this levy, like open challenges, and with the goal of lining up on a package that we could vote together on Tuesday. And so appreciate the collaboration so far, and stay tuned. So that is the levy, both conversations that we've had last week, and then conversations that we're going to have in the coming days, and then leading up to the final vote, again, a week from tomorrow morning. So stay tuned, but I appreciate all of your hard work so far, and that of our central staff and my own team. Let's see, kind of pivoting. So as you know, colleagues, I generally spend most of my time during council briefings focusing on my committee report outs and updates, and with the exception for a few other things, with the idea being like spend a lot of time investing in sharing robust, comprehensive newsletters. And so like as much as possible, we'll use this time for in my case, transportation committee stuff. Something happened this past weekend that I found to be personally really shocking, alarming, and disappointing. And that was a man tragically lost his life in Alki in Duwamish Head. and another man was shot and injured, but someone was shot and killed. Another incidents of gun violence in our city, colleagues. And, you know, not only that, not only did someone tragically lose their life as a result of gun violence, some nearby neighbors in Elki had their homes and condos shot up, and the second and third floor, this happened on Saturday around 4 a.m., and I responded on Saturday morning and talked directly with some of the frontline heroes, police and firefighters who responded and clearing the scene. And I called and spoke directly with one of the impacted homeowners who had their windows shot up. Situation down there is, from a public safety standpoint, colleagues, not where it can or should be. And you know, we've seen long-standing challenges of problem racing in the area, and I know that is an area of mutual concern and interest for a lot of us. And you know, when you mix a hot spot of problem racing, and you know, I think in this case there was drugs and/or alcohol involved, and oh, by the way, it was 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning when this happened. It's just not a good set of factors. So the community deserves better. We need to do more. And I've had some great productive conversations directly with the mayor and the mayor's office to bring a better public safety situation to the people of Elki, the residents of Elki and Harbor Avenue. And there's some pending legislative efforts as well to address some specific concerns, but I'm calling on I want to convene a public safety conversation with representatives from the mayor's office and 3 executive departments, SDOT, because this happened at Duwamish Head, in a specific area where we know in that community, you know, they've been calling on for years for the city to redesign the parking in that area to either eliminate parking or at a minimum convert the existing parking to parallel parking only spots, which I'm inclined to support. Regardless, I'm calling on for a redesign of that to avoid the congregate spaces where people at bad hours end up causing trouble to themselves and the surrounding community. So calling on SDOT, it will be Parks and SPD to have a conversation about, you know, some of the specific needs, the challenges, and have a candid conversation about some of the specific needs, challenges, and then also opportunities that we all have to do better. But, you know, another tragic incidents of gun violence in my community, in our community here. I happen to be of the mindset that all gun violence incidents are preventable. And so we can and must do better. But I'm excited about the opportunity that we have to partner together, and we're convening a group right now to do exactly that. And I appreciate the support directly from the mayor's office, the executive, and their participation and willingness to do this work together, because it's going to take all of us, colleagues, as we know, not just one of us. So in any event, tragic news there, and me and my office have been hard at work on responding, and much more work to do. So if needed, legislatively, would ask for, you know, your support on specific things on a going forward basis to remediate some known challenges in that area. I suppose I will pause there, and I welcome any comments, questions, or feedback from any of you all. And if not, I will pass it on to the next person.
Thank you. I was at the Fremont Fair this weekend, and many people came up to me to talk about what happened at Elki in the West Seattle shooting, and very thankful for your response and seeing you there. And also, they are excited. We're not excited, but they are glad that you are putting together the Public Safety Forum, because that's what they were asking for, and continue this conversation. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I attended a few Juneteenth events this past week, started by going to the Labor Council event at their offices, then went to the Juneteenth pop-up that was put together by the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle. I also attended Juneteenth, the Freedom Festival sponsored by King County Equity Now and Africatown at the Jimi Hendrix Park with Councilmember Hollingsworth. I also attended the City of Seattle's Juneteenth event at Seward Park. It was great to see so many people come out in communities to celebrate, or not celebrate, but to honor and remember of the legacy. Also attended Othello's Park's Juneteenth event there, and I was trying to go to the Atlantic Street Center's Juneteenth at Rainier Beach Community Center, but got stuck at the other Juneteenth celebrations. Also attended the Rise Above event with Councilmember Hollingsworth. Rise Above put on a basketball clinic that helped Native youth hone their skills off and on the court with professional players to really work together to show that you can really rise above. I also went to the West Precinct Advisory Council Public Safety Forum on Monday and got to listen to Councilmember Kettle and Council President Nelson speak, and it was great to see county members there to learn about what the county is doing in terms of mental health and other resources. And they also brought in people who worked at Evergreen Treatment Services as well as mental health practitioners to really hear about the ongoing efforts that's coming together to see how we could help people who need more resources. I also went and met with the Seattle Indian Health Board to discuss public safety challenges and ways we can support behavioral health workers. In committee last week, we kicked off the Arts and Economic Roundtable, which will continue on the first month of committee, which is every third Friday of the month. Also co-sponsored by Council President Nelson. We had a great kickoff meeting that laid out the foundation and context. So looking forward to many more of these roundtables to hear and learn more about the ecosystem of arts, culture, and economic development. Our committee also recommended that we pass the execution of Seattle City Light's 2-year agreement with the Port of Seattle, and this item will come to full council in July. Our next committee meeting will not be until Monday, July 15th. It will be a special committee meeting because we were supposed to meet the day after the 4th of July holiday, but found that there would be, we wouldn't have quorum, so we moved the meeting to Monday, July 15th. To end my week, I attended the Fremont Solstice Festival. It was great seeing the creativity go into the floats and to people's outfits and the different merchants that were there. So that was a lot of fun. And if there are no further questions, I will pass this to Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Thank you, Councilmember Wu. Sorry, I lost my train of thought with notes right in front of me. Parks Utilities Technology Meeting will be this Wednesday, June 26 at 2 p.m. We're going to go over an ordinance, Council Bill 120800. It's a currency use taxation bill for Hillman City in Councilmember Morales' district, D2, baby. Ship Canal Water Quality Project update as well. So we'll be going over that. And then also the SPU, their strategic plan. So we'll have that information, which is going to be about rate paths and infrastructure, which is important. Next one, and there will be a possible vote on ordinance, Council Bill 120800. I actually told Councilmember Kettle that there wasn't, but that had slipped my mind that I thought that was going to be moved to the next meeting. So there is. Please let me know if you have any questions. I know that Yolanda sent out information regarding that, but we'll check in with all the council members on that meeting just regarding that. Just if anybody has any questions, just want to make sure you have all the information. Regional committees attended Board of Health with Councilmember Kettle and Council President Nelson last week, where we talked about nuclear warheads. And also, I'm sure Councilmember Kettle loved that presentation. He knows a lot about warheads and where they're stored and everything and all the interesting facts here in Washington State. And then also, what we're trying to do for homelessness in our city and the crisis that we've seen as well. Following this meeting, we also have the Metro Parks District agenda as well. We're going to be going over the district background from Christopher Williams, budget resolution, and then financial operations. I'm also attending the Police Pension Board meeting this week as well. We meet once a quarter, so this is our second time meeting. Last week, like Councilmember Wu said, went with her to a Juneteenth event at Jimi Hendrix Park. Also visited the Duwamish Longhouse and also the African American Advisory Council meeting. And then I hung out with Councilmember Moore at the sneak peek at the Ocean Pavilion. That grand opening will be August, September of this year. So that's going to be fun. We'd love to see fish. There were no fish in there. There was just a scuba diver, but we'd love to see fish in there. So that's going to be fun. I also attended Rise Above with the Seattle Storm, a clinic, free clinics that they put on for kids all around the district, which is great, and had a lot of former Sonics players, Nate McMillan, Ellis, Lenny Wilkins, and a bunch of other people. So that was cool. Sean Kemp was there as well, the Rain Man. Seattle also attended this weekend, which was super fun. Seattle Parks and Playground Restoration. We're having the Greener conference this week that's hosted in our city, and a bunch of volunteers all across from the country came to volunteer to restore a TT Minor playground, which was really cool. And that's a playground that's in the heart of the Central District, which is great. And then also spent time at Madrona Grace. I have thrown out to the people in District 3 that my job is to visit one church a month in worship. And so I'll be visiting, I've been visiting churches all around, going to their services and meeting people. And so this month was Madrona Grace Church, which was cool. And then last but not least, this week, there's a lot of stuff on my list, but the one thing I'm most excited about is going to go visit Fame Housing at Bryant Manor. Fame Housing had a lot of friends grow up in Bryant Manor. They tore it down, reestablished it, 200 units of affordable housing for phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be another 200 units, but those will come on the line in the next couple months for phase 1. It's probably the most beautiful view in the city. They sit on 20th and Yesler, and they can overlook the downtown. And it's huge because you know, they'll be able to bring a lot of people that have been gentrified out the Central District back into our community, which is going to be huge. And then start on phase 2. And the most important piece, family housing, 2 and 3 bedroom units, which is huge. So anyways, without that, I will pass it to Councilmember Kettle.
Thank you, Councilmember Hollingsworth. With all that supersonic talk, I thought maybe you had a big announcement for us regarding supersonics.
I don't think that's
Not
mine
today?
to make. Yeah,
Not
no,
today?
it's not
Okay,
mine to
because
make.
that would have been a breaking story for our colleague behind you. For this week, for me, we have the Public Safety Committee on tomorrow. First up is the reappointment of Lisa Judge as the Inspector General, OIG head. This is obviously very important as respect to our consent decree and also, you know, working with the Federal Monitor, because a lot of the Federal Monitor work gets transferred into the OIG, so a smooth transition is really important there. Also important is waterfront safety. There was a report commissioned, and it's going to be briefed out tomorrow. Waterfront safety, not just the bay, but also the lakes as well, so it's going to be very important. And then lastly, for the committee meeting tomorrow, we're going to be introducing our street racing bill. So very important, as mentioned by Councilmember Saka, in terms of what was happening this weekend in Alki, and as you noted, the tragic death, you know, to gun violence, and then what's happening to the neighborhood, and that is so important. You know, and this street racing bill is so important to create another tool, another press with respect to the permissive environment that we have. There's so many little things, like you're talking about SDOT, that create this environment for which this can happen. And so that is really important of itself, but it's also important in the sense of we're doing these bills, like the street racing bill, the automatic license plate reader bill, you know, the vacant building abatement bill, the recruitment SPD staffing bill, and the SPOG contract bill. And it shows our intent, and it shows what we're looking to do on public safety. It shows what we're doing with respect to our strategic framework to address that permissive environment that underlines all these public safety and challenges, to include what's happening in Alki. And I think it's also important to note that it really helps us in terms of SPD staffing, because as you noted, and there's been reports talking about, you know, the numbers of sworn officers that we had. And, you know, the retention piece is, you know, has been leveling out, but still a lot of work to do. And we need the press because, you know, the recruitment piece takes time. A lot of things are in motion, a lot of things are being button play, but it takes time for the recruitment piece to catch up. And so we need to do all the different things that we can do, whether it's working with SDOT, to take away the ability to have the street racing, or to, as you see more and more, the burnout donuts on the pavement. All these little things add up, and that's why we need to continue our work in the committee and the council, and working with the executive, working with the mayor and his team to do this, because it shows our intent, and it shows that we're not going to allow it to be permitted. And that is so important. And, as we look to tackle our bigger problems. So sorry to hear, but thank you for that introduction of that point, Councilmember Saka. And please include me when and wherever you need me, and as I can. So thank you. In terms of regional committees, this week coming up, we have the Puget Sound Regional Council Executive Board on Thursday, and then on Friday we have Domestic Violence Prevention Council. Another area of great importance in public safety is DV, the domestic violence side of things, and it's really important. That's a council. Director Kim, City Attorney Davison, and a number of other individuals. But this is going to be a broader council on Friday. Last week, as Councilmember Hollingsworth noted, we have our King County Board of Health meeting to talk a number of things as it relates to, yes, nuclear armament, which probably better left unsaid, because I don't think people realize how many nuclear power plants or nuclear weapons are within Seattle's short footprint. And if Washington State would become a independent country tomorrow, we would be the third largest nuclear power in the world. But that's something that a lot of people in Seattle don't necessarily understand or appreciate.
Till now.
Until now. And but it's okay, because I used to live above 2 nuclear reactors, a bunch of JP5 aviation fuel, and I don't know how many millions of pounds of bombs, so it's okay. So on that front, moving on, also last week on Thursday, I did a ride-along with Health One. So important, the work that Health One is doing in tandem with Health 99 and the other efforts that we have ongoing in the city, to include what we're looking to do with CARE, which will be something that we'll be working on this week. But it also follows up on my visits with Fire Station 10 and 25, Fire Station 25. So important for all of us to not only go to the precincts, which I think a lot of us have done. I've been to all 5 police precincts, but we also need to visit the fire stations, and then do ride-alongs with groups like Health One, or Health 99, and to see the challenges that they face, and what kinds of issues that we need to address from our perspective, from a policy and/or budget perspective, is so important. And speaking of budget and issues and so forth, I met with Representative Jayapal last week on Friday, talking about a number of efforts that she's doing in terms of community direct involvement. I talked about the support that the federal government has done, like FEMA, in terms of emergency preparedness with the Office of Emergency Management. I talked about the need for the federal government to do more in the counter-drug operations, because as opposed to outside our land borders, U.S. military is doing a lot in terms of counter-drug, but internal to the United States, it's a lot harder. So we need all the federal elements to be doing their piece, so they can disrupt the drug trade before it gets to the on the ground level here in Seattle. The more that they can disrupt, down the line, the I-5 corridor, the better off we are. And so that was a point that I was strongly making. In addition to some of the issues surrounding in District 7 as a from a constituent perspective. So that is it. Thank you very much for your attention, and over to Councilmember Moore.
Well, thank you very much. So this week we do have the Housing and Human Services Committee, and that will be Wednesday. We plan to have the Housing Levy E&F Plan and Housing Policies back in committee for further discussion, address any amendments, and hopefully take a vote. We will also have 4 appointments to the Community Roots Housing Public Development Authority and 1 appointment to the LGBTQ Commission. And then we will have 1 informational item on the 3rd Avenue project that will be co-presented by the Human Services Department and We Deliver Care. Let's see, in district last week, I again, mentioning shootings in neighborhoods. There was a shooting 2 weeks ago. It started on 101st, related to pimps and the prostitution. Went down Linden. Bullet went through a child's bedroom. Fortunately, they were not hit. But needless to say, the neighbors were very, very rattled and shaken. And so I and Deputy Mayor Burgess met with a number of neighbors to talk about the escalating violence that's been happening on Aurora and North Seattle. Both the need to have additional police, but also really to look at how we can bring the gun violence prevention and interruption services that we see more in the South End to try to upscale that to the North End, and making that a focus. And then also looking at sort of environmental design, things that we could do, maybe closing off alleyways, creating some road barriers, making sure the lights work, just trying to look at every avenue that we can to help reduce the gun violence and just the general disorder that's happening there. I then also went on a tour of the AIDS Memorial Guardian in Cal Anderson Park that was established by former Councilmember Tom Rasmussen, and that was a very moving. It was lovely to see, and it's really a moving tribute and an important memorial that we have in our community. So that's pretty much what I have to offer. No questions, I'll turn it over to Councilmember Morales.
Thank you, Councilmember Moore. Good afternoon, colleagues. I'll start with Land Use Committee. The next committee is scheduled for Wednesday, July 3rd. We anticipate having just 2 agenda items. One is the Office to Residential Conversion, so Council Bill 120761. The plan is to try to May. As a reminder, this legislation cuts red tape to make converting office space to residential space to facilitate that process. And I will be bringing a technical amendment that was proposed by OPCD that will add reviews back into legislation because OPCD had originally intended to include them. So we'll talk more about that in committee. We also will have 3 appointments to the Equitable Development Initiative Advisory Board. It is a holiday next week. Our committee's on Thursday. Oh my gosh, I've been gone for 2 weeks. Sick 1 week and out for a conference a week. Committee's on Wednesday, July 3rd. July 4th is a holiday. If you are not going to be in committee, please let me know. We already have 1 absence noted, so I want to make sure that we're going to have quorum. Let's see, last week I was at the Association of Washington Cities board meetings and conference. I do represent Seattle along with Councilmember Strauss. So for the board meeting, I sit on the legislative committee, so we had our meeting to prepare for session. Also attended the conference portion of the week, which included sessions on planning for deeply affordable housing, urban revitalization, got a mobile tour of their waterfront development that's happened. If you haven't been to Vancouver, it's pretty cool. Lots of new things happening on their waterfront as well. And then we had a general session panel with former Representative J.T. Wilcox, well, I think he's still there, but retiring, and Lieutenant Governor Denny Heck on finding common ground, efforts to improve the civic health in Washington. So that was an interesting conversation. They are collaborating with the University of Washington's Ruckelshaus Center and one other organization that I am forgetting right now, but to really begin a series of statewide conversations about how to improve civic health in the state. And then I joined Spokane Councilmember Betsy Wilkerson, who hosted the Juneteenth celebration on Wednesday night, and we did some amazing karaoke as the Association of Washington Cities. This week I will be attending the King County Growth Management Policy Committee in that capacity, and I was out of town, so I don't have any district updates. Yeah. Any questions?
Is there any tape of the karaoke?
I'm sure there is.
or preps.
That's all you need to know.
All right.
I
cool.
did sing Jolene and Lizzo, if anybody's interested. So
Now,
there you
are
go.
those your go-tos, or you were just like kind of spur of the moment?
It's kind of go-tos.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Always welcome to do here in council briefing. The mic.
Following your lead.
The mic is yours, Councilmember Morales.
I guess I'm up. Last week on Monday, I had a briefing from the Office of Sustainability and the Human Services Department on Seattle's Food Action Plan. Also on Tuesday, I began my regular check-ins with Seattle Police Department Interim Chief, Surar. I'm looking forward to partnering with Interim Chief during her time with SPD. As we all noted, or many of us, just today, all the things that are happening in our city. In the D4, we had, in addition to the continual break-ins that small businesses are experiencing, including more recently Herkimer Coffee on University Avenue, we also had a couple in a neighborhood that was assaulted, and SPD is investigating anyone with any footage in the neighborhood that can contribute footage to SPD. Please do so. It is really something that our entire city is suffering from. Thank you for bringing to light, Councilmember Saka, the sad experiences of this weekend. And thank you, Councilmember Kettle, for your leadership, and colleagues for all your support of all the legislation that we've recently passed to really bring some change about with the public safety situation in the city. And so looking forward to continuing to work with you all, and just my heart goes out to the folks that are experiencing these sad situations across the city, gun violence, folks losing their lives, obviously on the heels of our children under assault and dying from gun violence in our schools, something I never, ever thought in the 23 years that I've lived in Seattle that we would be seeing here in Seattle, and yet it did happen even in my kids' own schools. So really just underscoring that we all are working together as a council to effectuate change in the public safety space, and we have all committed, and I know I'm continuing to commit to do what I can to make sure that we're addressing this issue boldly and swiftly. So thank you all for partnering on that. Then this week, tonight, I'm attending the Fremont Neighborhood Council. While the majority of Fremont's actually in D6, I share that with Councilmember Strauss. I represent a sliver of the neighborhood, which includes the Troll. So that's pretty exciting. I look forward to hearing what's important to Fremont residents, and I know that public safety is top of their list. As a reminder, I'll say Tuesday evening, I'll be attending the closing reception for Greater and Greener at Gasworks Park. The event is sponsored by Seattle Parks Alliance in partnership with Seattle Parks and Recreation. The Alliance brings together innovators and decision makers from across the global urban parks community. We all love our parks so much in Seattle, and I feel really fortunate to sit on the Parks Committee with Councilmember Hollingsworth as chair. So maybe I'll see you there, Councilmember Hollingsworth. As a reminder to those of you who sit on the Library's Education and Neighborhoods Committee, this Thursday's meeting has been canceled, so you'll have that time back in your schedule. But the next meeting will be on July 11th, where DEAL, the Department of Education and Early Learning, will be presenting on school-based health centers and also the mental health pilot investments that DEAL is responsible for. It's a new line of business for DEAL, and so we're going to hear what has come about from the $4.5 million investment that they were given between 22 and 23, and look forward to hearing from them. I know they've worked with not just SPS, but some experts in the field to come up with a program, and looking forward to hearing about the programs, the details, and also the results of the program and outcomes. So that will be July 11th. And then finally, on Friday, I will be visiting with Solid Ground at Magnuson Park. Some of you may be aware that Solid Ground operates several low-income housing complexes at Magnuson Park and provides resources for preventing housing loss, food insecurity, and connects clients to healthcare, transportation, and other public benefits. So I'm looking forward to learning more about Solid Ground and their work, in particular to the residents of D4 who are now living at Magnuson Park. As you know, that's also new, as for a long time we didn't have folks living at Magnuson Park, and as we are expanding and growing and making spaces for our folks, as we all know, we're all also another, in addition to public safety, housing led, thank you, by Councilmember Moore, who chairs the Housing and Human Services Committee. We are also looking for opportunities to expand housing in the city, as it is a great need at the city. So I'm looking forward to hearing about the families, in particular to Magnuson Park, who are there with Solid Ground. We also have Mercy Housing at Magnuson Park, and I hope to meet with them soon as well to talk about families there and their need. And the last thing I'll say about that is, not that long ago, Councilmember Hollingsworth joined me in a teen night there for the residents of both Mercy Housing and Solid Ground there at Magnuson Park, to let them know about the summer programming now that school's out as of last Friday. So I'm really looking forward to meeting with Solid Ground. And that is all I have for this week.
Oh, Council
Questions?
President Pro Tem, I like the sound of that. Can I ask you put you on the spot and just ask you for an update on the libraries and the hack situation, getting service back online?
Yes, I actually refer back to Seattle Public Libraries. I know that they're working on it. I don't know how much. I know they've kept us apprised. Everyone should have gotten from their offices an update on the fact that they're trying to restore services. I know that they've been able to restore some service, and I know ebooks, for instance, are back on, but then the computers folks can't use the computers there yet, but they are working very diligently. And for more specific details, I'll have to refer you to SPL, since they're the ones that have more information on that.
Great,
Hope
thanks.
that helps.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
great. Any other questions? All right, then. Before we adjourn, I want to note the meeting of the Metropolitan Park District Board will be at 3 p.m. after we adjourn in these very chambers. Is there any further business before we adjourn? All right, then, hearing no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.